Hey everybody, welcome to Riffin with HB. We talk about old school and underrated bands and try to bring them to the masses. Today we're doing an old school band. We're talking about Sly and the Family Stone. Let me go grab my notes real fast. Appreciate everybody for being here. How we got to this band is they were a name influence for the band Foster the People. The style influence. I thought about it this morning, and I was like, we're going to kind of do something a little different than we normally do. I don't have any notes. I don't have anything prepared. I just listened to the band before the show. So we're going to look up a couple things. They are from 1966, as we mentioned this on the last episode of Riffin. They're from San Francisco, California. Super hippie California vibe. Active until 1983. Blended elements of funk, soul, psychedelic rock, gospel, R&B. Became a pivotal influence on subsequent American popular music. Obviously, as we noticed, because Foster the People was an influence, or sorry, they were an influence to Foster the People, which is kind of crazy because it's how we get the sounds of the modern day bands that we have. The core lineup was led by singer, songwriter, producer, and multi instrumentalist Sly Stone, and included Stone's siblings, Freddie Stone, Rose Stone as well, Cynthia Robinson on trumpet, Greg Errico on drums, Jerry Martin on saxophone, and Larry Graham on bass. The band was the first major American rock group to have racially integrated mixed gender lined up. So, pretty cool. All right. Pioneers to the emerging psychedelic soul sound. They released a series of top 10 Billboard Top 100, such as Dance to the Music, Everyday People, Hot Fun in the Summertime, um, Thank You, as well as critically acclaimed albums such as Stand. So yeah, they got some stuff up there. Now let's do some fun facts on them here. Appreciate all you guys for joining the chat. Sup. Revolutionized music as the first major American rock band to feature a multiracial mixed gender lineup. It's pretty cool. Combining black, white, male, and female musicians, changing the landscape of popular music. Their hit "I Want to Take You Higher" was meant to imply both spiritual and literal experience. The band performed at the legendary 1969 Woodstock Festival, famously getting the crowd to shout higher. The lineup included Sly Stone, his sister Rose, brother Freddie, Larry Graham on bass, Cynthia Robinson on trumpet, Jerry Martini on saxophone, and Greg Eric on drums. Were introduced into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. That's about 10 years or so, give or take, after they quit. Sly appeared from the wings, gave a short speech, and quickly left. It's pretty interesting. They're their first multiracial, multi-gender mixed band, at least the most first major American rock band. It just shows how different the '70s were at a time like that. It was a different time. It was like the music. It was in the music. You could see it, how it was. You could hear it, feel it, the vibe of the songs. So obviously later bands like Jimi Hendrix and Bob Marley and Pink Floyd, tons of bands like that. Even Red Hot Chili Peppers as well. It kind of makes me wonder what makes a psychedelic, like what makes psychedelic rock. Psychedelic rock is a 1960s rooted genre designed to emulate the perception altering effects of the hallucinogenic drugs through distorted electric guitars, fuzz box or wah wahs, heavy reverb, and studio experimentation. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you make a psychedelic song if you have those elements. Key elements include extended improvised jams, surreal dreamlike lyrics, non-Western instruments like sitar and electronic organs. A video explains how Jimi Hendrix's "Are You" experience embodies the key elements of a 1960s psychedelic rock. But see, this is what I was saying, that maybe these people were just doing psychedelics, playing music, and now what we call psychedelic rock is just like has the tonalities of people like Pink Floyd or like Jimi Hendrix or like Sly and the Family Stone, right? Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to anything to do with the psychedelic effects that the music causes. Because if that was the case, there are tons of bands that are EDM and do dubstep and crazy sounds that are way more entrancing with the sound of what a psychedelic trip is than something like Jimi Hendrix could be. And don't get me wrong, it's great music to listen to, tripping, but so is Black Sabbath. And Black Sabbath is not psychedelic rock, is it? So it's like, where do we draw the line here? Like, what do we classify this? This is why I just like despise people getting put into genres and boxed up because, and I've mentioned this a few times on Riffin, because when people start to, whenever you're just classified as an American rock band, then somebody comes in and they're like, well, I'm the first blues band to integrate black and white, male and female. It's like, it just starts to get so redundant because you can call them a blues band, but you can call the person right next to them a blues band too, but they have a totally different sound, a totally different style. And then you can make music really intricate where it's like rock and roll, it's like alternative rock, punk rock, pop rock, and there's all these different variations of rock, and then it becomes too complicated to really even pinpoint down. So at a certain point, you just have to have like a psychedelic influenced rock or whatever the case may be. But before the 60s, these guys were writing music, then they had to be the pioneers creating this shit for the first time. So there weren't people before them doing it. Intense use of studio techniques like backwards tapes, panning, flanging, echo, and according to Masterclass, extreme reverb to create a trippy atmosphere. Heavy use of feedback, distortion, and wah-wah pedals to create unconventional screeching or warping sounds. But again, like there's tons of rock bands that use wah-wah pedals and distortion. It doesn't necessarily make them a psychedelic band. The strong presence of electronic organs, harpsichords, and mellotron. I'm not sure what a mellotron is. Corporations of Indian music styles such as the sitar, tabla, or tabla. Well, it's basically just like a piano. Okay. A tabla. These are kind of like bongos. Very cool. There's a guy on YouTube like that. He'll walk around a giant circle and be like, "Well, this is a tabla." It'll start playing like a random theme on it. It's funny. We were just talking about this on Mystics. Like that's how you become cultured is by like if you're not familiar, like living people's lives, and they're gonna be like, just how you know about bongos because they're iconic, or electric guitar or whatever because it's iconic. You go to a different culture and they're like, yeah, we have this thing called a tabla. You're like, wow, what is that? It's like drums. You start playing it and you learn how the sound of it is and the style of it, and flute and banjo, harmonica, all these different sounds. Cool, cool. We got some ducklings. What's up? Get your ducks in a row, man. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you, Mello. Yep, cool. Um, it's nice to do a 1966 band. Um, we're going to be covering Tom Petty, which I don't know off the top of my head when Tom Petty actually started making music. But you guys, I think the running down a or down a dream. Yeah, running down a dream. That is the documentary of Tom Petty. You guys highly recommend for you guys to go check that out either tonight or sometime before next Thursday before Riffin with HB. It's a super great documentary and it talks about the whole intricacies of the music industry and um, especially in the 60s and 70s. Well, let's see here. Oh, I accidentally clicked on the documentary. Anyway, whenever Tom Petty started writing music, um, it says 89, 93. It's a little later than I thought, actually. What would I imagine the 70s in my head? But yeah, anyway, whenever the music industry first started being formed, it was really new, and those people started taking advantage of these artists right off the bat because they knew they could make money off of every ticket sales that they made, every merch sale that they made, and make it enticing by, they have money up front. Hey, we'll give you 10 grand, and to people who are sleeping in vans and shit, trying to make it big, they give them this lump sum of money and then try to steal it from them as they go along, performing for people. And it's a pretty good, interesting story. So I'm excited to talk about Tom Petty on Thursday. It's really super unfortunate his whole story about how he died. We're going to try to avoid all the drama about it, but we're going to touch on the story of him and where he came from and his whole life. So um, yeah, until 2017, it seems like Jesus, dude. It seems like only yesterday. It's been almost 10 years. He's been gone. So and I don't have a band picked out for next Saturday. We'll feel it out as we go along. But yeah, I do know I want to cover Tom Petty on Thursday. I got some things I got to take care of, so we're gonna get out of here a little early on this one. And you guys go be prepared for Tom Petty episode. And I appreciate everybody for joining in. Bye everyone, and have a great rest of your night. See you guys on the next episode.